of time. Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to today's session. My name is Gretchen Monahan with the Oracle team, and we have a very exciting content for you today in terms of discussion here. We have a full house in terms of a panel of experts that can help us navigate through the journey around creating a compelling self-service journey for your customers here today in collaboration with a top partner of Oracle's Infogain. A couple of housekeeping items before I dive into the agenda for us all. And we will be recording this session, so it is available for your reference, or if there are colleagues that would like to see it. And we also will be taking Q&A. We'll wait until the end of the presentation to take it, but as the questions come to mind, please feel free to put them into the chat, and I'll be navigating those at the end of the presentation here. With that, why don't we flash to the agenda slide? As I mentioned, we have a panelist of experts here today to help guide the journey of your customers. We're going to start with an overview of what we're calling our digital trifecta with Harriet Franklin, Outbound Product Management for Intelligent Advisor, followed by some insight around Oracle Digital Assistant from Outbound Product Management, centered around ODA and AI with Joe Wong. And then we're going to have a demo to show you kind of the flow around what that looks like for you and your customers, delivered by Gopi Kujali, Solution Architect with Infogain. And then we'll finish it up with Q&A facilitated with Josh Bocott and myself. And again, please don't be shy. This is an interactive session. This is meant to help you. This is meant to give you information that you can take back to your businesses and help your customers with. So please make this interactive. As I mentioned, we will be taking questions at the end of the session, but please feel free to input them in the chat as we're moving along and as they come to mind. And with that, I will turn it over to Peter Shoemaker, VP of Business Development at Infogain.
Thank you, Gretchen. Appreciate everyone for coming. Just wanted to give a brief introduction of Infogain as co-sponsors of this webinar today. So Infogain has been a long-standing Oracle partner. We have focused to a large extent in our partnership around customer experience, which for us has been a core part of our business for over 20 years. Infogain is headquartered in Los Gatos, California, in Silicon Valley. We have 4,200 employees, and we're privately backed by private equity firm Chris Capital. And we have 40 major clients. You can see on the right sort of a description of some of those clients. Many of them Fortune 10, Fortune 50, Fortune 100 clients, and also mid-market clients as well. You can see our various offices, several in the US aside from Los Gatos, and some 2 in Europe, 1 in Middle East, Singapore, and then 4 in India. So we have been growing both organically and through acquisitions. Some recent acquisitions, we brought on a firm, Rebel Consulting, that does experience design, help our customers connect most efficiently and harmoniously with their customers. And then Silicus Technologies, which has very strong presence in cloud and in IoT and some other modern technologies. So that's it, sort of a general overview of Infogain. Now I'd like to turn it over to Harriet Franklin, who will get into our presentation and the value of self-service.
Great, thank you, Peter. Thank you everyone for joining. Wherever you are in the world, we're very excited to be partnering on this webinar with Infogain. They've been a true partner with us for many, many, many projects. Before we get started, Some of the information you're going to hear today may be part of our product roadmap and any future features and functionality. And we just want to make sure that in the context of this, you're not using that to make any decisions. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started on this webinar when we're talking about creating a compelling self-service experience. And when we think about that, the first thing that we think about is the customer journey. And in the past, when we had limited channels, what we like to say is that the customer journey was pretty fixed. You could define flows, workflows, and you could figure out where it was. But, you know, with the more and more channels, the customer wanting to interact with you many different ways, I mean, what we found is that the customer journey is unpredictable and it's unexpected. And we can't no longer help guide the customer. The customer is going to guide us on how they want to interact with us in this digital age. So, you know, one of the things that we do when we sit down with customers and Infogain sits down with customers is it's really important to understand your service strategy. As part of that service strategy, what customers want is a completely differentiated service ecosystem. And by ecosystem, I mean taking all the pieces together that are at hand, all the channels, all the agents, and really putting that together into one sort of seamless service where you're offering service 24/7, and not just the easy questions, right? It's those difficult questions and automating processes that normally would go into a contact center. And then that way you're leaving those questions that really need to go into the contact center where you have the human side of service, where we find that nice balance between automation and human service. So what can we automate, and does it make sense to where we're not degrading the experience for the customer? And that's offering customer choice, innovating and automating in that true contact center authenticity. So if we take a quick look at Oracle CX Service, the heart and soul and the middle is knowledge. And when many of you started your contact center projects, that's where you started first. And knowledge really laid the foundation for the rest of CX Service, where we have intelligent advisor, contact center, digital customer service, and some of you also have field service. And then on a broader picture and looking at your business ecosystem, where you have marketing, ERP, supply chain, all the pieces that form together for your business. And then coming up here, I would call these the common modules that are going to go across your enterprise, where we've got connected data, artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, chatbot, and platform services to really pull everything together. But for the purposes of today's call, we are going to concentrate on three key features and functionality, and how we can pull those together and really provide a great customer experience and free up your agents. So when we look at today's customers' needs, we kind of look at it as three different areas. Instant service, 24/7. I know if I have a question and I can't sleep at night, I'm picking up my phone and I'm looking for the answer. Last thing I want to do is search everywhere to try to get what I say is a simple answer. That means quick access to the right answers anytime. And then it also means personalized service. So not generic questions, but questions that apply only to me. And how do we solve that is through instant access, artificial intelligence, the Oracle Digital Assistant. Knowledge is the foundation, and you've already created that knowledge. So let's leverage it with automated, more automated channels. And then finally, an intelligent advisor. And so by answering these main customer needs and pulling these three products together, we here at Oracle are calling this a digital trifecta. And it's really just these three solutions together to meet the need to help predict, deliver, automate, and tailor service anytime, anywhere. Now, I do want to say that this is three products together. It's not a bundle. It's not an official product. It's getting you to use what's already out there in a meaningful way. So let me just show you what an example of that could be like. And when we think of an Oracle digital assistant, and Joe's going to drill into more detail later, when we think of it from a service perspective, it has what we call skills, many skills. And so with the artificial intelligence, it can answer a lot of questions. But you've invested in your knowledge base. So why not access that knowledge? So here's an example of Oracle Digital Assistant accessing knowledge that you already have. When you put the question in, it brings back the knowledge base. It can also do things like transactions, reach into some of those back office ordering systems and pull back information. And then it can also, it's integrated with Intelligent Advisor to provide an interactive online dialogue that's going to help automate some decisions that normally you'd have to go to an agent for. And then finally, there are times when you want to go to the agent and you have that live handoff to the agent. The good news is everything that you've already done here is part of a transcript, and that entire transcript is transferred to the agent. So at this point, from a customer perspective, the customer doesn't care what's happening in the back end, but you as a company know that you are leveraging knowledge, transactions, agents, and to the customer, it's seamless. It needs to be seamless to the customer. So why knowledge management? Okay, so when we're looking at all the different pieces in your existing investment, information is everywhere. It's an explosion of data, and knowledge management really helps make sense of all that data. Google has, we have over 2.5 trillion bytes of data created each day. And, when your agents are working with customers, how do you put your meaningful information in front of them? And the way you do that is with knowledge. And so, what does this really mean to you? It's cutting down the amount of time that's spent searching for information. So on Google, we see 3.5 million searches per day. We don't want your agents doing that. We want to feed them that information, and we want to feed that information to your customers. Also, other customer expectations. And so, with I would say one of the best and leading knowledge management systems out there, you get that natural language processing search. You get that machine learning that helps bring up the right context to the top of the pile. And you have contextual knowledge that's going to serve the knowledge based on what the question's being asked to your agents, so they no longer have to search. The next piece is Intelligent Advisor, and I think a lot of people aren't familiar with this yet. It is something that's really caught on recently. And simply put, Intelligent Advisor delivers personalized advice, and that personalized advice is tailored to the individual. It also automates decisions, whether it's with the agent interacting with Intelligent Advisor or the customer, or you can call Intelligent Advisor headless in the back end to help make decisions. So whether it's self-service or agent, always consistent advice across all your channels, or whether you're calling it from headless, from a batch process, it automates your decisions. And then finally, the ability to create this experience to create these rules, rule authoring, are all done by business users, which makes it even more simple for your organization. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing, and I am going to pass it over to Joe, and Joe is going to give us more details and differentiators for Oracle Digital Assistant.
All right, great. Thank you so much. And let me start sharing. Okay. And of course, we have just switched to a new version of the Zoom, so hopefully it will be more smooth. All right. All right. Thank you so much, Harriet. So yeah, I wanted to talk about, Harriet talked about quite a bit of around Service Cloud and knowledge base and intelligent advisor. Now I'm going to talk a little bit further about why Oracle Digital Assistant. Well, Oracle Digital Assistant is a platform to build intelligent chatbot, and how it helps is, and the way it works, it leverages AI-based natural language processing to recognize natural languages. So you can basically converse with a digital assistant, and it's able to understand and reply and send a text back, or even use a voice to reply. And on the right side here, you see an example of a digital assistant. Actually, as a matter of fact, this is a digital assistant about a digital assistant. We can ask questions on what is digital assistant, how do you connect digital assistant to the various channels or messaging application and so forth. And now we use the terminology digital assistant, right? So most of you have heard, obviously, the term chatbot. Well, chatbot has really been around for a couple of years and is really the first generation technology that tries to understand natural human languages. Typically, it's single purpose, it's reactive, so you have to find the the chat window for the chatbot. And generally, the first generation is understand simple sentences, right? And which actually limits its usefulness. And there's some very simple, that can handle and so forth. But as you know, in customer service scenarios, the customer now demand much more than just a simple FAQ. They demand essentially a digital assistant that can serve multiple purposes, that are proactive, can notify you and actively engage in a conversation, as well as understanding natural and complex sentences. And really, reality is when we start to converse just like this, right? The human languages are much more complex than a simple one or two sentence type of interaction. So digital assistant is able to handle that and provide much better customer service experience. And conceptually, Oracle Digital Assistant is a cloud service. And what it does, and you can kind of think of it as a translator, right? It translates what end user says, either through text, typing, or through voice interactions, translate essentially into API calls or things that machine can understand. Then machine, can understand and replies, and the backend application replies based on the data that's in the application, and the digital assistant again translated into a language or voice that human can understand. So at a high level, it basically does that translation. And the way that digital system works and the way that it's able to handle and multiple purposes is the following, is that we introduce a concept called skills. Skills essentially are individual chatbot that most of you may be familiar with. And so each of the backend applications, and Oracle has done this for most of our cloud applications, is that we have created these what we call skills for SCM, for ERP, for HCM, and most importantly for CX. And of course, our customers and partners can also create these skills or individual chatbots. And then what end customer can do is simply compose a digital assistant composed of these individual skills. And what we're able to do is, as a user makes a request, the digital assistant understands, well, it's a question about maybe billing versus an order versus I want to return a product using customer service scenarios, and then route to the appropriate skills that can do that, rather than forcing the customer to find, oh, here's a page and appropriate chatbot for returning a product versus looking at order status. All of the experiences is through the single conversational user experience called Digital Assistant. And Oracle has a pretty large number of pre-built skills and chatbot. And for HCM, for example, we cover core HCM functionality. For example, user can just say, hey, what is my vacation balance? For ERP, expenses, project management. So for example, I can just go ahead and from my SMS or messaging application, this is actually something implemented internally within Oracle, upload a receipt, and the digital assistant can parse the receipt, get the key information out, and automatically create an expense item for you. And you can then submit the expense item at that point using natural languages. Supply chain management, logistics. Now in CX, for sales, we have a set of chatbot or skills for sales and commerce type of scenarios. However, for service, and this is really where the tightest integration comes from, and this is really a cornerstone of the integration with that composed of the digital trifecta that Harry just talked about, with the out-of-the-box agent integration, with the seamless conversation handoffs, with intelligent advisor and knowledge base integration. As a matter of fact, you're going to see a demo of that very shortly. PeopleSoft also has a number of very good, a rich set of skills for extending PeopleSoft functionality. And then a lot of these vertical has functionality, right? And again, the advantage of having a digital assistant is that there's a single digital assistant can service multiple channels. And the way that it works, and here's a kind of a high level functional architecture. This is going to be as deep, I'll get into the technology side as I would get today. Basically, the end user request can be coming from a web client. So this would look like a little chat bubble in a web application. And also later you'll see a demo how that works. Through a mobile application, through common messaging applications such as Facebook Messenger, Microsoft Teams, and Slack, or through voice. Oracle actually have our own voice to text engine that are trained with enterprise-specific terminology. All the requests goes through what we call a channels layer. And the channels basically abstract the difference between these different messaging applications and route the request to an intelligent routing layer. And this is really a key differentiator for Oracle Digital Assistant, is our ability to really perform intelligent routing and then route the request to the different individual chatbot, what we call skills, that are connected to the different backend applications. And so for example, a user can start with a request, I want to order a new laptop, right? And digital assistant will be able to recognize, well, it's the procurement skill that can fulfill that conversation and functionality, so routes the request to the procurement. However, if the user says, well, I'm going to buy a new laptop, but I can't remember which day I want to start my new job, I need to ask that question. At that point, the digital system is smart enough to route the request to the job offer skill to provide that reply. So what does that really brings to really the service scenarios and how it enriches the conversation experiences? Well, it helps to modularize the individual skills or function, right? So you can create these modular component chatbot and incorporate into a digital assistant. And also, probably more importantly, improve what we call non sequitur handling. What does that really mean? Well, it really means is, well, as a human being, as a natural conversation, sometimes I may be saying one thing and then something pop into my mind, I say something else. Traditional digital assistant, chatbot cannot handle that, right? It forces you to finish a flow. However, a digital assistant is smart enough to say, okay, now you're asking a completely different question in the middle of another flow. I'm going to route to that to a different skill. This is a key differentiator. And as you know, to provide a good customer service, you really need to adopt to how customer may be looking for support. One minute they may be asking a order status. Next minute, maybe they're asking for product information about the product they have purchased. And you want to be able to handle that. Digital assistant allows you to handle that seamlessly. And if we drill this into a little further, what are the key parts of the digital assistant chatbot or skills? And in the diagram you saw earlier, there's a layer called channel that really allows you to abstract the difference between different chat client. It also, and we also have a component that executes a dialogue flow. And just like someone carry on a conversation, right? You need a engine that can carry on a flow, a conversation with the end user. Essentially, that's like a state machine, so that if a user already stated what is the order number, well, I'm going to remember that in the next response rather than asking for it again, right? So that's what dialogue flow does. The third part is enterprise data integration that connects to the backend systems. And this is where Oracle delivers a lot of the pre-built integration to the backend services. However, as you know, in customer service scenarios, you really have a heterogeneous environment, right? So Service Cloud takes care of service requests, but well, if customer needs to ask about order information, that goes to a different system, right? And it is through this enterprise data integration layer that enables digital assistant to connect to another, in this case, order management system to pull in the order information. But the last and not the least part is the conversational AI engine that basically uses machine learning technology to understand what user is saying, right? And this is the part that needs to be trained. Oracle, of course, provide all the training for the key enterprise services and skills that we provide. For a lot of customer service, digital assistant, of course, that will require special training. And this is where a great partner like Infogain is able to provide these, industry specific or use case specific training and build it into a conversational AI engine. And one of the another key differentiator for digital assistant is what we call insight and analytics. Basically, I'll be honest, chatbot and digital assistant, it sounds like magic, but there's really no magic in it. And in that, it still requires human to train it, right? And the machine's not smart enough, thank goodness, that can train it on its own. So digital assistant relies on what we call supervised training. And in order for the administrator to effectively perform that supervised training, we provide a set of very nice analytics tool for administrators and really targeting business analysts to see what are the conversation trends, what are the top things that user has asked for, what are the popular conversation path, as well as what we call, most importantly, retrain. So for list of utterances or things that user says that's not recognized by a digital assistant, we'll list all that so that a human can classify and train the digital assistant to understand that utterance automatically. So this is all out of the box functionality. What we also provide is the ability to a out-of-the-box voice-to-text engine. And so the voice-to-text engine basically, and I think a common question is, why Oracle has our own voice engine, right? And so first of all, voice is really the most natural way of interacting with the digital assistant. And now, however, in I think there's some very common very common and also well-known instances where the commercial voice assistant like Alexa, reality is there are a number of, there are people behind the scenes listening to the conversation. That's not really secure, not private. And what about integration with the enterprise security? And most importantly, there are a lot of these industry-specific terminology, right? So in customer service scenarios, you want the digital assistant, and if it has a voice capability, to understand the product that you're selling, to be able to understand if user says product A, it doesn't interpret it just into another product just because it's not a common vocabulary, or you're selling a specialized device. With the Oracle Voice, you can actually train it with industry or even your own specific terminology to really understand what the end user is saying. Okay.
Okay, Joe, if you could just leave that up there, then
Yep.
we won't have to switch back and forth. Thank you, Joe.
Sure.
Great insights and deeper dive into really Oracle Digital Assistant. To come back and really tie it all back together with service, if you look at the picture onto the left, we don't care what channel you're coming to us, what messaging channel, whether you're using SMS, messaging, or chat. But when you come into the service application, we have service routing that's going to take that message and seamlessly to the customer, either route it to digital assistant or to a live agent. We don't want them in the flow and get stuck and then ask for an agent. If you click the next one. Yeah, so what you see here, the digital assistant will then manage certain requests. And then that digital assistant is integrated with Oracle, our knowledge management system, intelligent advisor, and those skills that Joe talked about, skills that are just for service, ones that can create incidents, retrieve data, and complete other transactions. And then if they need to pass it on to a live agent, that can all be seamlessly done. So the differentiation here is this particular architecture. Next. And then finally, just to wrap it up here, leveraging all three products really gives you that ability to provide that service to your customers anytime, but it's not just the yes, no questions. It's the more difficult questions, the ones that can launch into your knowledge base, the ones seamlessly, and the ones that can engage in an intelligent advisor interview and dialogue. And so, consistent experiences across all your channels, you're leveraging artificial intelligence, digital agents. It acts as an agent. You don't even know. We've got a customer in the UK that is actually using Oracle Digital Assistant, and it's so seamless to customers. The digital assistant's name is Holly, and Holly actually gets fan mail and feedback from surveys. So for the customer's perspective, they think they're talking to a person. That's what you are looking to achieve. And then really just leveraging your existing investments in conversational engagements. So with that, next slide, please. I am going to pass it over to Gopi. And Gopi is from Infogain. And if we click on the next slide, Gopi's going to walk through that slide.
So what we did is we created a demo which kind of integrated the digital trifecta. So the three products: Oracle Digital Assistant, Knowledge Advance, and Intelligent Advisor. And the Oracle has tried to combine these three in the backend, create some kind of an integration together. So what's the significance of that? There are a couple of things, practical issues that it immediately solves. And that's what we are trying to highlight in this demo. We're not getting too deep, and this is a simple demo in which where you'll see a self-service portal. User comes into a self-service portal and asks a question, and then that question is answered, and we engage and we do a follow-up, make a product selection for the user. So what's happening in our demo is, if you look at the current practice in the web pages or the customer web portals, so they have knowledge searches. When you come in, so the user can do some knowledge search. And then they can also, in many cases, they can be able to do some chat. And there is a kind of a chat waiting in the corner of the page that you can, you can just open that and start a chat session. Or if you want to do some other activities, like, I want to pay my bill, I want to reset my password. All this kind of built into the web portal. And the web portal will have to do that integration. So if you say, these three are digital assistant, knowledge advance, intelligent advisor, all these are in the backend are three different products. And if you take it, and if they are not integrated, then the website will have to integrate with digital assistant, knowledge advance, intelligent advisor separately, right? So you'll have to build some kind of a business logic into the website. So by combining, providing an integrated solution at the backend itself helps us modularize it and take away all this integration that we need to do in the web portal. So our backend is kind of light and it doesn't have the business logic. So, and in the backend, everything is modularized in the sense, if you need to change a knowledge article or you need to change a digital chatbot interaction or a question set or a decision flow engine that you built in the Intelligent Advisor. If all that is changed, then the business users are going in and changing that and deploying it. And it doesn't require any deployment into the web portal. So because nothing is built into the web portal, right? What we are trying to do is the whole interaction, now the user comes in, the interaction, we just pass it on to the digital assistant. Digital assistant is doing all the integration. So if that interaction requires that we need to pull some information from the knowledge advance, so we pull the information from the knowledge advance and send it back. And if it requires that we pull some information from the dialogue that's built into the intelligent advisor, we pull it and then we return it back. And you'll see that all the interactions are happening through the digital assistant UI that's integrated. So, by combining these three products, really helping us in two ways. One is it's combining the overall experience in the backend, and it's also helping us combine or unify the user experience. So user don't have to come into the web portal and then open a separate chatbot and you start an interaction. And that interaction, you get a knowledge article, you click on that, it opens a different article. So the user will keep going into different pages and different UIs, jumping between the pages. We don't have to do that. Digital assistant interaction is able to handle all that. So that's what you will see in our demo. Peter, if you can.
Yeah, I think I'm on. Okay, let me just share my screen. Let's see. Okay, is everyone, hopefully we're seeing my screen. Can everyone see this?
Yep.
Gretchen, we're good? Okay. All right, well,
We're good.
Although you know me as Peter Shoemaker, today I am John Smith. So I've gone to the portal. I have a problem. My internet's down. I'm a customer of Broad Range Communications. That's where I get my internet and mobile, and internet's down. So I go to the portal and I log in. Put in my password and then go and log in. So this will now take me right into Digital Assistant and the chat. And my friend, the chatbot is Kara, and not Kelly, I think it was, that Harriet knew. But Kelly or Kara is going to help me out. Now I can do this with voice, and so it would be voice activated. Okay, so you notice for starters that we do have voice activation. That's fine. I'll turn it off for now, so I can turn that on and off. You also notice that you know, by design, we're giving the person a chance to either type help if they want, or type agent. So they connect in with an agent rather than bot. But we'll continue through Digital Assistant. So how can you help me? I have a problem. Okay, sorry you have a problem, John. What is the problem? Is it cable TV, internet, or something else? Well, it's an internet problem. My internet's down. Okay, great. Understand. Let's check connectivity in your area. So the Digital Assistant is automatically going and looking at the person's account and knows where that person lives, shows the map where they live, and says, are you trying to access from here? Just in case the person might be traveling and not at home. But yes, I am at home. So, okay. So now Digital Assistant is going to check the area to see if there's an outage. No, we don't see an outage in your area. What kind of problem are you experiencing? My internet's not working. Okay. So now it is going and automatically doing a search of Knowledge Advanced, the knowledge base, and saying what articles might be able to help John. And it comes up with the top 3 most relevant articles given the issue that was presented. This one looks good. So if I view this, it's going to show me the article. I can scroll down. I might be able to fix it myself by looking through this article. Actually, it turns out I am able to fix it, so this is great. So I don't need to see the list. I don't also need to look at more articles. And then, so the Digital Assistant says, okay, did this help? Yes, it turns out that worked great. Now, Digital Assistant is also going and looking at the account, my account, and saying, well, wait a minute, John, your account is about to, your subscription is about to expire. It's due next month. And now we can do some upselling. So we have some exciting offers. Would you like to review these? Yes, please. Okay, great. So now it shows me, okay, in case I didn't know, here's the plan you're currently under. You have internet with this 18 megabit per second download speed, and you're mobile, you're on a family plan with 10 gigabyte per month data. You don't have TV. Let me ask a few questions so I can provide the best options for you. Now, Intelligent Advisor is going to be invoked, and it will ask some questions. Now, this is a little overly simplistic because, you know, in the interest of time, but it's going to ask key questions so that the Intelligent Advisor can then, based on the answers, determine what's the most, you know, the best recommendation. So, you know, how much heavy activity is there on the internet, streaming, et cetera. So, well, 3 to 5 people, users are doing that. And how often do you find internet slower than you'd like? That's frequently too slow. Okay, I've gathered information. I may ask more questions about internet, but that's it for now. Let's turn to your mobile plan, and it tells here's what's been going on. Your usage has increased over the last 1 month. You've exceeded your data limit the last 3 months. What do you expect in future? Well, I think the usage will increase a little. Okay, so now it's giving the reason for its recommendation, which in some places, Europe and Canada, I understand, must be provided. So since you find the internet slower than you like and your mobile data usage is increasing, here's what we recommend. Upgrade internet to the premium plan with 25 megabit per second download speeds, and upgrade your mobile plan to unlimited data. All this for an addition only $15 a month. Would you like to do that? Yes, please. Great. Here's what we'll do. Make those upgrades. And because we're such an altruistic organization, we'll give it to you at no charge for the next month until your renewal date starts. So now it says, well, since John doesn't have TV, let's see if that might interest him. So we have very attractive pricing if you do all three. Yes, let's look at that. Okay, a few more questions. Now, Intelligent Advisor is getting back into action and saying, okay, what's your TV usage like? Well, I like nature and travel. Yes, I like movies. Sports, for sure. News, no, I get enough of that from the newspaper. Okay, so it gathers all that information. Again, makes a recommendation. Here's a very popular one we think would suit you. 60 channels, you get your sports, you get your movies, you get nature, and we can offer you this for $45 a month. Do you like this? Yes. This is a really good customer for a broad range, you can see. Okay, great. Now, we hadn't talked about this yet, but there's also an Oracle product, Oracle Field Service, which can schedule and manage the field service organization. Digital assistant is going out and saying, okay, when is the technician who serves that area going to be available? Comes back with 2 times when that person would be available. Would either of these times work? Yes. Okay. How about Thursday between 1 and 3, or Tuesday? Okay, great. So it now schedules that time for the technician, puts it on that technician's calendar, and the technician will call on their way. Any other specific instructions? Yes, don't ring the doorbell. Okay, please don't ring the doorbell. The baby might be sleeping, taking its nap. So I enter that. And digital assistant understands that, provides that information back into the appointment through Oracle Field Service. Says, okay, we got it. Don't ring the doorbell. Thank you for your subscription to Broad Range Communications. We really appreciate your business and here to help you at any time. So you can see that in this example of the digital trifecta, where we have this being led by Oracle Digital Assistant, we're able to help a client with several things, actually, all in one automated flow. And we've been assisted by an automated lookup to the knowledge base, a search that will provide the most relevant information to potentially help the user with the internet issue. And we have taken advantage of the opportunity to offer new services to the customer with the help of Oracle Intelligent Advisor. So I hope this gives you an idea of how this could be put into action with a very common type of user experience. So that's all that we had. And Gretchen, maybe you could turn it over to questions for the last 7 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, please feel free to enter your questions through the chat. I don't see anything just yet. You know, as we're trying to navigate through the ever-changing environment, I think it's ever so important, as everybody on this call knows, to adapt to serving the customer needs. I know as a consumer, my behaviors have changed, so it's going to continue to be a challenge, but we're here to help. So please, you know, don't be shy to enter your questions. We have the panel of experts here to help.
You know, one question, Gretchen, I might that I've gotten quite a bit is, you know, we don't know what question the user might ask, and they might not ask it in exactly the right way, especially if you're dealing with terminology that may be specific to an industry or a product or technology. And so how does the kind of learning take place so that the digital assistant gets smarter over time? That question has come up quite a bit. And maybe Harriet or Joe could answer that.
Joe, you're on mute if you want to go ahead.
Sorry, I missed the sorry, I missed the question. Could you repeat the question?
Yeah, I hope I'm still unmuted. But well, people ask how the learning takes place with digital assistant. You know, in case users don't ask the question right and it doesn't understand it at first, but you know, a bunch of people ask similar questions, and can it learn over time?
Yes, and that was the feature, one of the slides that called out, which is the analytics and insights feature, where the all of the resolved and unresolved intents are presented to the customer administrator or you know, administrator or business analyst to further train the digital assistant. Again, we don't do self-training. The self-training capability actually is there. It's not that hard to do, but our experience is that, especially looking at a few examples, and Microsoft has such an example where the self-learning digital system or bot can be easily made biased to by the malicious users. So we support is all the tools that you would need to perform supervised learning. So over time that the digital assistant gets better and better based on how you train the digital assistant.
Awesome, thank you. Still no questions on the chat. Any others from the panelists that are frequently asked that maybe we can talk through while people are teeing theirs up?
So there was one about reviewing the demo later, and is it available online? We can do that. We can make that available and notify everyone who's been on this call, give you a link to that.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Maybe one more minute and we can wrap if nobody else has any questions. Appreciate everybody's time today. I know we're inundated with Zoom calls these days, so appreciate you taking the time out of your day to listen.
Thanks, everyone.
Okay. Yeah, thank you so much. No other questions coming through the chat. Again, we'll make this material available to everybody on the call. And please, feel free to reach out to anyone on the call with questions that we can help answer and help guide you through your journey and your customer's journey. But thank you again, everybody. Thank you for the panelists for your time as well. Have a great rest of your day.
Yeah, Thank you, Gretchen. Thank you, everyone, for attending today. Much appreciated. And look forward to hopefully working with you on, on your self-service solutions.
Thank you. Take care.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.